Are you making these HR mistakes as you're building your career in HR into HR leadership? I've been in HR for over 15 years and I've grown my career from unpaid intern all the way up through executive leadership. And today I'm going to talk about some of the things that I was able to avoid, sometimes by learning things the hard way, but some of the things that I have been able to do to grow my career on purpose, but then also to avoid these mistakes. And hopefully you can avoid these in the same way. So let me know down in the comments, where are you in your HR career? If anything resonates with you or sticks out to you, drop them down below. I'd love to see where you are in your career as well. But I've got my notes here. Feel free to go ahead and get your notebook, anything you want to take notes with. But hopefully this will help you to understand that you're not in this alone. I understand where you are, and I probably have some of the same mistakes that I've made and that you can avoid if you listen to this and you figure out ways to get through it the way that I was able to too. So when I started in HR, I was not an HR leader. I was at the bottom of the totem pole. I came in completely green, completely new. I had no idea what HR even was. I had a HR leadership class that I had taken before my internship began, but I really didn't know what I was signing up for. I literally needed an internship to start my to complete my degree actually. So it's probably I think my second or third year of college. I had to complete an internship. And so in that internship, I had one that was completely lined up. I was supposed to do my internship at the Board of Education, and it was completely lined up. There was no questions about it, no concerns about it, or anything. And then at the very last minute, it fell through. So I had to find an internship, and I found one at our local credit union. And so I've been there ever since. So I've been there for over 15 years, going on 16 years. And in my time frame, there's a lot of pitfalls that I made. And with me starting as an unpaid intern, and now being, one of the top employees in the company, I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot of transitions. I've seen a lot of shifts. I've seen a lot of growth for myself and for others. And there's a lot of mistakes that I was able to make. So I want to make sure that you understand that you're not in this thing alone. So for me, the first mistake was thinking that I had to have all the answers. Now, remember, I said that when I started in HR, I was an unpaid intern with just an HR leadership class under my belt. For whatever reason, I thought that when I was now in the HR department, even though I was working under someone else's leadership, I thought that that meant that I had to have all the answers, that I had to know where to find all the answers, that I had to, be so knowledgeable and, so put together. But little did I know that me acting that way, behaving that way, thinking that way was just working against me, because everyone knew that I was brand new. Everyone knew that I was still in college. Everyone knew that this was my first real job, my first full time position. So to approach it with that mindset that I was going to have all the answers, I was going to tell everyone what to do, that I was going to be so proficient in everything, it was really a non-starter. Like it worked against me. And figuring out that I don't have all the answers, but understanding that I could figure out how to find the answers, who to reach out to, whether it was in the company or whether it was a resource and things like that, really helped me to break out of it. And so in this way, I probably didn't avoid this mistake in the very beginning because I thought that I had to have all the answers. But that's one of the things that worked for me. Um, when I started in HR, I had not yet completed my bachelor's degree. So during my time there, I completed my bachelor's degree. And then, in order to learn more and feel like I could be more successful in my role, then I got my master's degree, then I got my HR certifications. And with every new accomplishment, with every new academic accomplishment or professional standards as well, I was able to build that confidence to feel that I was more knowledgeable and things like that. But one thing that I've realized throughout my time here, there's no way for me to know everything. There's no way for you to know everything. And so when we approach things in the mindset that we'll never have all the answers, when we approach things as we're being a lifelong learner, we're always trying to learn something new, that works in our benefit. People can respect that better than, someone's telling us a fast yes or a fast no, as opposed to, well, I'm not sure, let me think about that. Or I'm not sure, let me go research that. And I learned to do that over time because I realized that if I give a quick answer, and it was the wrong answer, that will undermine my own credibility. So I had to figure out ways to get beyond that. So hopefully that helps you as well as you're going through your day and you're wondering, do you have to have it all figured out? People respect it when you don't act like you have it all figured out. If you know the answer, then say the answer. But if you don't have the answer, then figure out a way to just say, let me look into that, and then come back and have the right answer at that time. So for me, another mistake that I made was trying to do everything on my own. So I'm an introvert. I'm probably one of the most introverted people that you'll ever meet. I'm such an introvert. I enjoy spending time by myself. I can be completely satisfied just staying at home, watching movies, playing Sudoku on my phone, just playing The Sims, just doing random things just alone. I enjoy my own company. But I had to realize that in the workplace, that was a mistake for me. Like, I could not figure out I could not break out of trying to be an introvert and accepting that it's okay to lean into other people, to ask people for help, to work interdepartmentally. So I had to get out of that. And some of the things that helped me to do that was working closely with our local SHRM chapter. So if you're not aligned with your local SHRM chapter, I recommend that you do that, because it's a great way to not just attend the meetings and get all the valuable information that they have, but also to align yourself with your colleagues within your city, within your area. Because these are going to be people that are going to be your close network, that see you, that go to the meetings where you are, that are in the same region as you are, if not in the same city. So these are the people that you're literally going to grow up in HR with. And as people retire and come in and out of the workplace, being aligned with your local SHRM chapter really helps you to build that professional muscle. Also, not just attending the meetings, but find different ways to get ingrained into the chapters. So for me, that worked by me being an at-large member of our local chapter for the first few years, and then also eventually working my way up to be in other leadership positions. I was never the president or the secretary, but just I think I was a program chair at one point. Just find different ways to get ingrained in your either your local SHRM chapter or your local employer committee. I was program chair of the local employer committee. Just find different ways to get ingrained into these different networking opportunities. The reason why I say to do that is because it helps you and it helped me to not just go to the meetings and be a fly on the wall, or go to the meetings and just sit at a table and wait for someone to say something to you. If you go to the meetings and you're on the board of those committees, it helps you to have a relationship with the people that are making decisions, that know everyone else, and they're going to know you. Just helps you to build that, again, that professional network that you really need to have. Going back to that very first point of trying to do it all on your own or having it all figured out, the more you find value in connecting with people and embracing the idea of networking, is going to be really, really impactful. I've got another video on this channel about how I was able to break through and learn how to network as an introvert. So if you are in that space and you feel like you are an introvert as well, watch that video. Hoping it blesses you. But for me, I had to realize that I can't do it on my own. If I try to do anything on my own, it's not going to work successfully. So that really, really helped me. The next thing I did the wrong way at the very beginning, but I think I've kind of gotten this much better now, is not building key relationships in the workplace and not building those key alliances. So this kind of relates to the other mistake about trying to do it all on my own. But I had to realize that in the workplace, especially when you work for a smaller company, every relationship is important. Every relationship is important. You can't just have people to have a bad impression of you or perception of you, or let things get taken out of context and let things fester over time. The smaller the company, the more important the relationships are. So for me, when I was in the beginning stage of the HR career, we had roughly 66 employees. And so again, we had multiple locations, but a small employee size. So I had to first build a solid relationship with my supervisor, which was the CEO. And then once that relationship was solid, I understand what makes that person feel successful. What do they expect from me in my role? And what ways can I support what they're doing? Those are all key things to understand as you are, whether you're a new HR leader or you're an established HR leader. Understanding how to work with your supervisor is key, very, very critical. But then also going beyond that, understanding how to help your department leads, whether it's your department managers or supervisors, helping them to be successful, helping them to see you as a valuable resource, as a person that can be, in alliance with them as they help to build up their teams, coach their teams, hold their teams accountable even. So again, you need to not just be the HR person sitting behind the desk, keeping track of everyone's rights and wrongs, but you've got to get out and find ways to make relationships and to let people know that the whole you, not just who you are between the hours of 9 and 5, but share what you do on the weekend and share whatever you feel comfortable with sharing. But building those relationships is very key. But then lastly, and certainly not least, you've got to build solid relationships with your employees. So with all the employees within the organization, you want to find targeted ways to get to know them. One of the creative ways that I found to do it, and we still do this to this day within my organization, even though my team has grown significantly, we do what we call HR follow-ups. So some HR leaders call them stay interviews. I don't really call them stay interviews because I'm not trying to necessarily see why have you stayed. I'm really following up with you to see how are you doing? You're 90 days into your role. Is the role meeting your expectations? Is it what you thought you signed up for? Do you have your benefits in line? Is there anything that I can help you with? What's your relationship with your manager, with your team, with your, with everything that's going on in your workplace? I want them to understand that even after we hire you, and even after we onboard you, and even after you're in your role for a few weeks, you're not on your island by yourself. I want them to understand, employees at all levels, I need them to understand that HR still sees them. HR still wants them to be successful. And so whether it's 90 days in, and then again at a whole year, we follow up again, whether it's a new employee, whether it's a transfer, even promotions. We have these targeted places where we're building into these employee relationships, because it's so important to not just leave people to their own devices and expect that it's going to work out themselves. The thing about me, one of the things I always try to make sure that my clients do, and what I do as well, and even on my team and my day job, it's important to do things on purpose, and being intentional is so impactful. So I hope that helps you as well. Another mistake that I made, that I've learned to work through, is not speaking up. And that means not speaking up either for myself or for others around me. And so that's really, really key. So we often talk about, who supports HR. And in HR, especially as a leader, as a department of one, you often have to advocate for yourself. You have to advocate for others around you. So think about it. HR is that balancing being between the workplace and the workers within that workplace. And so everything can't be employer sided and everyone can't be employee sided. You've got to be that balancing beam, to be that neutral third party for as much as you can be, to find different ways to show that you're advocating for both sides. But then who does that for you? You've got to find ways to advocate for yourself, whether that means if it's your salary, whether it's, I don't know, your working hours, any flexibility that you need to have, whether it's your resources. Maybe you feel that you're not being invested in the same way that other employees are. You've got to learn how to, and I had to learn how to make the case to say, okay, well, this is what's happening. This is what is the impact of what's happening. This is what I would prefer, but let's talk about a way to get through this. So again, you've got to learn how to wrap things up and put things into perspective, put things into ways that your senior leader, whoever you're having a conversation with, will accept and will tolerate, for lack of a better term, so that they can understand where you're coming from and you can work to a satisfactory remedy. But also when it comes to employee issues, you need to be that trusted resource. Going back to what I said before about not doing things on your own, your leaders need to understand, and your employees need to understand, that you're a valued resource. You're a trusted resource, that you understand how decisions that are made at the HR level affect everything else. Everything that you do is not just a single decision. Everything sets precedent, or is following a precedent that's already been set. So you need to understand that not only do you need to be knowledgeable and understand what is going on in the workplace and what's going outside of the workplace, within the nation, within the world, you've got to find ways to bring that value back to the team so that everyone in the workplace can be supported in the right way. And then the fifth mistake is not learning from your mistakes. So again, I talked about how I am all about being impactful. I'm all about being intentional and doing things on purpose. And one of the mistakes that I made so early on was just continuing to be reactionary. I think a lot of us in HR can find ourselves to be very in firefighter mode, for lack of a better term, because we're just putting out fires as they come. And that was one of my first mistakes that I would make, because I realized that if I'm just going into work and just doing what's coming my way, that means I'm not doing anything on purpose. That means I'm not putting anything into the workplace. So that when it comes time for my evaluation conversation, if I don't get the marks that I want, or if I don't get the promotion that I want, because my value is not being seen, how can it be seen if I'm only handling what's being presented to me? I had to learn how to put initiatives in place. I had to learn how to understand what my department needed, and how to find ways to add value to the organization. Again, in business, it's all business, it's not personal. We've got to find ways as HR leaders to make our work impactful. We got to find ways to make our work make sense to the business. And if that means we need to ask for something, what it means we need to ask for resources, ask for support, ask for education. We've got to find ways to make it all make sense and bring it back to the bottom line in ways we're supporting the organization. So I hope that that has been helpful for you. The reason why I'm sharing this video today is because I understand that if I would have stayed stuck in all of those mistakes that I was making, there's no way I would have been able to reach the heights I've been able to reach in my career. And so for you, if you are struggling to grow in your career, if you know you desire to do more, make sure you're not making these 5 mistakes that I almost made consistently. I had to find different ways to break out of them, and I gave you several ideas on how you can break out of them too. So take that to heart. Go back and watch this video again, write these things down, pinpoint which of these 5 areas do you struggle with the most, or is there another area that you struggle with the most, and just make strides to continue to improve day after day, week after week, month after month. So let me know, where are you in your HR career right now? Which of these areas do you struggle in? Are you loving HR? Do you hate HR? Is it something that you just love to hate or hate to love? Tell me in the comments. I'm super curious where you are in your career and ways that I can support you. If any questions for me, please feel free to drop them down below. I hope this video has left you better than when you started. If I can serve you in any way, please do not hesitate to let me know. Talk to you on the next one. Bye.